I have been doing Cedric Tillman dirty since this process started, and I kind of want to set the record straight. Cedric Tillman looks like a late career breakout, a prospect red flag where the player couldn't earn the volume before his team started kicking him volume because of his veteran status. The year was solid, don't get me wrong, but if you have an A-dot like Quentin Johnson, you best have equaled his numbers or beat them. March 3rd. I don't know what I was looking at, but none of that is true. So here's Cedric Tillman's career as it played out year by year, and how I created for myself using the database, which is pinned to my Patreon and also pinned to my timeline on Twitter, and also probably linked below in the Linktree link for free. Get your own copy and beat me with it. Cedric Tillman didn't break out late. He broke out in his second season at age 19. So right off the bat, I don't know what I was talking about. I assumed what he was and just kind of found what fit, I think. He did only have 1 year. He played 1 year over 8 games. He played 2 games in his first season where Josh Palmer, I think, in his final year in college was the team's wide receiver 1. Then in Tillman's second year, again, he's 21 years old, but it's only his second season, and I know to adjust for things like that. Team's wide receiver 1 that year. And the following year, he only played 6 games, which is below my threshold, but I still will go and look at it. And that's the year Jalen Hyatt really goes off. And too long didn't read. Cedric Tillman should be ranked above Jalen Hyatt in rookie drafts, even though Jalen Hyatt's more likely, in fact, is probably going to go in the first round of the NFL draft, and Cedric Tillman might get day 2 to capital. I think Cedric Tillman did better in the same offense at age 21, but in his second season, when he played those 12 games, he was playing at an excessively high A-dot, like my notes say. So I got that bit right. He's got like a 16 A-dot. But he's got a dramatically low slot rate, like 8% of his routes were occurring in the slot, according to PFF. That is similar to Quentin Johnson. But here's the thing, if you stop looking at the averages and you're looking at the single season, he did better in yards per route run and receiving yards per team pass attempt with those similar numbers. Cedric Tillman, had 2.9 receiving yards per team pass attempt, which is actually pretty good, and 2.4 yards per route run. If we go over there and compare that to Quentin Johnson's best season, his best receiving yards per team pass attempt was flat out 2. And his average receiving yards per team pass attempt was 2.08, both of which are below Tillman's numbers here. His average yards per route run was 2.6, which is below this 1 year of Cedric Tillman. Also note, and probably one of the reasons I dismissed him early, is he's one of those players who doesn't look like an elite level player scoring like it in my early model. He's getting a 8.8 in my overall production model, where only 5.5 of that is coming from his production, the rest is coming from the team that he's playing in. But 5 is a solid production score, getting boosted for the level of competition he was playing at, and also the expectation of draft capital and some other stuff at Tennessee in the SEC. So there's a lot going into it, and to be clear, I haven't boosted Cedric Tillman up into my top 5 along with Jordan Addison and Jackson Smith and Njigba. I did say earlier that I should be higher on him, and I've come up dramatically. Right now, I've actually moved him up to, like, in my tier 4 at wide receiver 9, and I think he's pretty much locked in there right now. If you miss out on Quentin Johnson in your first round of your NFL rookie draft, and again, we've got the draft to come yet, so that's going to change a lot whether you're expecting to draft Quentin Johnson in the first round or not. If you're looking for a bigger body wide receiver who plays excessively down the field with a low slot rate, the potential archetype X, right, in the NFL, I think the next best chance in this year's rookie draft is Cedric Tillman. I still think his profile is overall lacking that elite level upside. And yeah, I think Cedric Tillman could easily be a late round, second round pick if you just want to draft a wide receiver after the primary hit zone of wide receivers in rookie drafts. I think Cedric Tillman's a really decent shot in this year's rookie draft. To put it in perspective for you, I've got this table over here, which I reference quite a lot, which, well, you might not like tables, but essentially it's trying to give you expectations of what their numbers should be, given how much they were running in the slot or how high their A-dot was. Cedric Tillman, again, was running a 16 A-dot, so that's excessively high for most players playing in college, let alone ex-receivers, getting about 23% of the team's overall target share and a target on 95% of the team's overall routes, or something like that. But because he's running at such an exceptionally low slot rate, that actually reduces the expectation of yards per route run, because you get more yards in the slot as a given, even with a high ADOT. You can see that the trend is with an ADOT over 10, the less yards per route run you're expected to get, the lower your slot rate is. So with an 8% slot rate and a 16 ADOT, we really have expectations around 3.2 or 3.3 yards per route run. If you flick back over to Cedric Tillman's stats here and look at his overall production in that single best year, you find that his yards per route run is around 2.4. That's lower than the hit average with those kind of numbers. So again, he doesn't profile as a great prospect when you really dig into that best season. But that 2.4 being slightly below average for some of the other wide receivers that we see in this class is less bad than it might otherwise be. The other number, and the one I prefer better, really measures the overall possession of the team's receiving offense. How much of the team's offense was he relative to how big the offense was, specifically in the receiving game. And there, the receiving yards per team pass attempt number is around 2.9. If we look back at the average table and consider how much receiving yards per team pass attempt a good player in a random conference or in all conferences on average is meant to get with that excessively low slot rate and that above average ADOT, is actually meant to get around 2.9 to 3. But yeah, let me know what you think. Apologies to anyone I misled on Cedric Tillman. That's why I don't just take one look and walk away, I guess, and keep working. But Cedric Tillman, better than you'd think.